All right, I'm sure that most of you have heard the news by now that Christian McCafrey, the star running back for the Carolina Panthers, was traded late last night to the San Francisco 49ers for multiple draft picks. Wanted to hop on here and give my thoughts really quickly on the trade, what it means for the 49ers and for the Panthers moving forward. Uh, so he was traded for a second, third, and fourth round pick this year and a fifth round pick in 2024. For the 49ers, I think it's a pretty good, it's a good move. You look at the number of picks and it seems kind of like an overpay for a running back who's in his sixth season, when we know that running backs don't really stay on top that long. But if you're a team who thinks that you can make a playoff run, then you go out and you make aggressive moves to get the players that you need to put you over the top. And that's what San Francisco is doing in this instance. They've got Deebo Samuel, they've got Brandon Ayuk, they've got George Kittle is one of the top tight ends in the league when he's healthy, and they've added one of the best running backs, one of the best players in the NFL. So the offense is going to be really versatile. It's going to be incredibly difficult to defend. A great addition for San Francisco. For Carolina, I think they did well to get the picks that they got. Kind of means, there's not a lot of hope for any more wins coming this season, right? I mean, you just traded your best player for nothing, essentially, nothing that's going to help you win right now. They don't have anybody on the roster who can replicate what Christian McCaffrey did for them. They don't have a quarterback. The O-line is still kind of a work in progress, trying to come together there. They've already traded Robbie Anderson, so they're a little lacking in the wide receiver core as well. The defense is young, but the defense has been a little bit of a letdown. And you got Steve Wilkes out there. Tepper saying if you do an incredible job, you'll be considered for the full-time head coaching position. By the way, we're trading your best player. Not much hope for the rest of 2022, but that's okay. They got rid of Matt Rule. They got rid of Phil Snow. They're looking at a full rebuild in Carolina, essentially. They're trying to get this turned around and built the right way. They're on track to have the number one pick, so we should be seeing a new franchise quarterback, whether that's Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, or whoever it ends up being. And they're going to be obviously looking for a new head coach come this offseason. So really the question at this point is, what should they do with the rest of their younger assets, like a DJ Moore, Brian Burns, Derek Brown, Jeremy Chin, those kind of players. And personally, I think that DJ Moore has to stay. DJ Moore has to stay. You just signed him to a long-term deal, a team-friendly long-term deal, and you're going to be bringing in a new quarterback, and that quarterback needs someone to throw to. You don't have a tight end. You just got rid of the best receiving back in the league. You got rid of Robbie Anderson. You have to keep DJ Moore and make sure that your new quarterback has at least one reliable target. As for the defensive guys, I know it seems like a bad idea to trade away 24-year-old edge rushers and 24-year-old interior linemen like Brown and Burns. Jeremy Chin, I think, stays. He plays in the secondary. He's a playmaker for them. Obviously, he's on IR right now. But that's a kind of a more important position right now in the NFL. It's a passing league. You want those guys who can play, who can affect the pass game, right? Now, that would be Brian Burns as well. Brian Burns is a good player. He's not a great player. They've already picked up his fifth-year option. So whoever, in theory would trade for him has him locked up for that next season as well. Derek Brown, he has a fifth-year option coming up as well. That decision has to be made after this season. But the issue in Carolina is going to be what we see right here. For next season, this is from Over the Cap, they are just barely under the projected salary cap for next season. $1.7 million in cap space. And they're not a very talented team. They don't have a lot of depth. They are lacking weapons on offense. This trade they made with Christian McCaffrey, they got 3 draft picks this year, and that brings them up to 7. So they don't have a lot of ways of bringing in talent right now. And I think that if you are looking at Brian Burns and you're looking at Derek Brown, and if teams are offering you good draft picks for those guys, you really got to consider it if you're Carolina. A new coach is going to come in, and the talk is that they want an offensive-minded head coach. It looks like it's not going to be Sean Payton. Sean Payton not going to be interested in coming to Carolina, which I kind of assumed from the beginning. I didn't really want Sean Payton, but I assumed that he'd be looking at better situations than the Panthers. But if you're bringing in an offensive-minded head coach and you're looking at a team that doesn't have any cap space, that doesn't have much talent on offense, it's not going to be very attractive. If they can flip those guys, one or both of those guys, and get some more picks, and they can, kind of get out of this cap situation that they've gotten themselves into again, and they can use those picks to start rebuilding an offense-first franchise, you're going to be a more attractive landing spot to those young up-and-coming coaching candidates. If they are able to move a Brian Burns or a Derek Brown, you can take those dead money hits this year and next year, and then like we see here in 2024, be essentially at a place where you can really reset the entire franchise. Right now they're $143 million under the projected cap for 2024. Obviously, that's not a lot of guys under contract, but the most important part is you don't see what we see here in 2023, which is $28.5 million in dead money, right? They want to get out from under these previous regimes who have done a terrible job constructing this roster, haven't been winning, and haven't really left much of anything for the people who are coming after. When David Tepper bought the team, it was supposed to be a turnaround then, and we were going to build it the right way, and they've done the opposite of that. They're sitting this season with $45.5 million in dead money. Next season, again, you see here $28.5 million projected dead money, and not much of anything to show for it. And at this point, Brian Burns is a nice player. Derek Brown has been having a fantastic season, but those guys are replaceable. We know that building defense first doesn't really work in the NFL. You're not going to be counting on those guys to win you games. You're going to be counting on the offense to win you games, especially when you invest that number one overall pick into a quarterback. It's going to be that quarterback's team. It would hurt to say goodbye to McCafrey, Burns, and Brown all in quick succession there, but the picks that you get back from trading those young defenders, along with the picks that you got back from trading Christian McCafrey, can kind of accelerate the rebuild. Carolina's got a decent young O-line. They need to grow together. They need to develop and gel and everything, but they've got the players. They've got DJ Moore, who's under contract, who's one of the better wide receivers in the league, pretty underrated. If they can get a coach like a Byron Leftwich, Eric Bieniemy, even a Ken Dorsey to come in here, and they can invest those picks into the offense and then start rebuilding the defense afterwards, you're talking about a team that won't be down for long. Whereas if you keep those guys and you try to sign Burns and Brown long term, you're lacking picks, and maybe you're not as attractive a spot for a head coaching candidate, you're just going to kind of prolong the misery to keep a couple of players who, while they're good, they're not game changers. So that's kind of where I land on it right now. Wish Christian McCafrey nothing but the best in San Francisco. I think he's going to be a difference maker over there for them. Obviously in Carolina, it's going to be a long rest of the season. Not expecting a lot of wins there, but hopefully, taking it on the chin right now will lead to a quicker turnaround later. We'll be talking more about it on Wednesday on the live show at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. So, hope to see you there. If you're new to the channel, definitely like the video and hit the subscribe button, and we'll have a lot more content coming for you soon.